The Divine Mother, the mother of us all, came in because Mother Earth reached out to her, not because of the people, okay? But one of the things that nobody thought would happen, the Divine Mother is nobody to mess with, okay? She really will, and like they said, since we had the, quarantine, that the atmosphere was clearer in China, and this was the oceans, and it's like those things have to be cleaned up. Things have to change, okay? And unfortunately, people do not change without pain. And it's part of what a human being is made of. And that is why we have, and say, get to the heart chakra, get out of your lower chakras, get up here to a place of love. And if it takes pain for you to do that, then pain you shall have. Jesus wants to come through.
Oh, beautiful. Sananda?
No, Jesus.
Beautiful.
Okay. Jesus says there are many who are calling and needing his energy at this point in time. Of course, all the...
You got to accentuate the positive. Wow, I feel good. A little bit of feel good goes a long way.
You're listening to KAren Swain, teacher of deliberate creation, accentuating the positive, showing you a way to a better life.
Accentuating the positive, it's not just fad, it's sanity. Who in their right mind would accentuate anything else?
If you feel like that's what you want to do.
Hello, welcome to another show, Accentuating the Positive with KAren Swain. So wonderful to be with you all again. And remember, if you're enjoying the conversations, please share them with your friends so we can grow the love. Nothing more needed than more love in this world right at the moment. I have another amazing woman to introduce you to, Athena Raphael. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Now, I saw you. It's exciting. I know. She's just moved house. So we had a bit of fixing things up to get her on camera so we could see her and everything. I know what moving house is like. You've got stuff everywhere. So thank you for being on the show in the midst of the moving.
It's all right. It was already scheduled. I wasn't going to miss it.
I saw you on Kevin Moore's show and I just loved your story. I just loved your connection. I just loved you. And I thought, I'm going to reach out to you. I don't watch all of Kevin's shows, but I'm guided to sort of click on some things. Sometimes I never know why I'm clicking on stuff. And then I listen and go, and that's why. Let me read out your bio here, and then we're going to get into your amazing story. So Athene Raefiel is a psychic medium, empath, spirit channel, and past life reader connected to the angelic realm and many other realms of existences beyond this reality. Her psychic abilities allow her to vision certain events, which helps bring clarity to situations she's reading. She's a metaphysical teacher and writer of mysticism and enlightenment. She has always had the second sight since she was born and was tormented for this in her early life. As a psychic, she believes in the power to create changes you desire. All her information comes from the heart of love and understanding and truth. Athena's work brings about transformation and provides life-changing results to all who are ready to move forward in their life. So let's get into your early childhood, because this is really fascinating. And I don't know, there's so many people, people coming through now that have this so-called second sight, or their intuition or psychic abilities are more expanded. But in your generation, not so many. As I was listening to you on Kevin's show, I was just thinking, I've met so many women of your generation that had that same trauma during childhood, being so different. And I felt like I really wanted to honor you for being that way shower, the way shower. So what happened as a child?
Well, it's, you know, I grew up with my grandma just down the block, and my grandma was a Native American Indian. Here, let me show you a picture of her when she was a child.
Oh,
I think it's
beautiful.
pretty obvious to see.
Oh, she's absolutely beautiful. For those people
Okay,
listening to audio, she's absolutely beautiful.
that was my grandma.
Wow. So she was full in Native American Indian.
Pretty much, yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, at her house, you grew up tribally. Everything was like a tribe. Everybody had their things to do, and everybody had to be doing this or that or the other. My grandma was kind of funny. You know, she told my parents, she said, there's something different about this one. You need to not treat her the same as the other children, which made them even madder, I think. But, but you know, uh, all of us kids, and none of us were hers, we were all grandchildren. We grew up learning to work. And we would go to the orchards and we'd pick fruit off the trees in the bushel baskets, and we'd take it home and then we would can. And it was, you know, everybody had a job. And if you told grandma you were bored, she'd have you wash the walls so you wouldn't be bored. I mean, there was no time for boredom in her life, okay?
I'll give you something to do here. Wash the walls.
And you go, that's the same wall. I don't care. Wash it again.
So what happened to your parents?
My parents were there, but they worked all the time. It seemed like they worked all the time. They owned a restaurant. And, you know, I think it was a lot more work than they thought it was going to be owning it.
Yeah.
But they pretty much worked from, you know, 6 a.m. until 8 at night every day, you know. And so I was the oldest. So I was supposed to take care of the younger ones. And so I grew up very young. By the time I was 13, I was a full-fledged waitress. And it was when I was about 9 or 10 that the dead relatives started coming to talk to me, the ones who had passed.
Yeah.
Okay?
The dead
And
ones.
and then I would tell my mother, and then my mother would tell my father, and then my mother would say, don't tell your father. And it went on like that, you know. They thought it would go away.
But surely they thought it would go back. But your grandmother must have understood.
She understood more than they did.
Right.
But she wasn't going to, you know, get involved, interrupt anybody's life. She would state her opinion, and that would be it. Our houses were both haunted. My parents bought 2 houses side by side with big basements, and the basements in both of those houses were haunted. And a lot of people don't understand that a lot of houses are haunted. Okay, this has been a thing that people have pushed aside for a very long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
But I woke up one day in the basement. I think I must have been about 10 or 11. My whole room, my whole bedroom was filled with tsetse flies. And we all know tsetse flies only live in places like Africa and that. And they weren't flying. They were just covering the walls and the ceiling and everything. And I told my mom, and of course, she came down with their handy tool, the vacuum cleaner, and again, it was, we're not going to pay any attention to this, okay? And it's like people don't understand how much possession and hauntedness is really going on out there in the world. I believe that the lower astral has completely come down here into the physical third dimension now.
Now,
I believe, yes, I believe that happened about a year ago. And I think that people have been becoming more and more possessed and doing really strange things, like kids going out and killing, and other people killing people for no reason. And everybody's saying what a nice person they were before this happened. Okay? I don't think everybody needs to go around being afraid of being possessed, but I think they need to be aware that it's there.
right. Let me just ask you, what do the tsetse flies have to do with lower astral energies?
I don't really know. All I knew was that they were tsetse flies. I knew they were not house flies because the size of them was gigantic. Okay?
Oh, okay.
Okay, and so, you know, my mother's thing was, well, they must have nested under the house. And I'm going, oh, whatever, okay? My father carried a big demon with him, and he is my stepfather. I was adopted, and his demon was scary, and I was not the only one that saw it. Okay, if he got mad, everybody saw it. And even when he died, and I helped him die a couple of years ago, he still had that demon with him.
So let's, okay, what's your understanding of a demon? Because I probably have a different understanding to you, but what's your understanding of a demon?
My understanding of a demon is energy that is produced by someone, sometimes, that takes on a form of its own.
Right. Okay.
Okay, this I call the protector. Okay, this most people develop in their childhood and stuff. I believe in reincarnation. And I believe that when you leave this world, because I help a lot of souls get to the light, okay? When you leave this world, your demons cannot go with you. So they have to be housed in the lower astral. When you're born again, at some point they're restored to you, and you still have to release them, heal them, get rid of them, however you want to put it.
Transmute them. Yeah, well, I guess it's a similar understanding. I call them thought forms, because they're thoughts that are not in alignment with source, and then they become a form. So I had this discussion with Frances Ray Key, who channeled some books after her mother died, and her mother, or the beings on the other side, were saying they become like vibrational spheres of vibrational energy. And the spheres can be, you know, in linear terms, negative or positive, but they can literally feed on your energy and you feed on its energy. There's like this symbiotic relationship where I guess that's under the banner of possession, in that you're kind of drawing from this particular vibration and it's drawing from you, and you're sort of feeding each other. Yeah. That's how I understand it. Yeah. So that would be the same thing, right?
Well, yeah, it would.
Yeah.
You know, I have had the ability to travel out into the astral,
right,
many, many times, and further, actually.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much solid in the etheric now, but I had to learn about the astral. I had to learn about the different levels within the astral.
Right.
Okay, so that I can understand how to help people. I mean, the highest level in the astral is that celestial, where the beings of light will show themselves. Okay?
So would you call that the angelic realm?
I would,
Right.
to a degree,
To a
okay?
degree, okay.
Because the angelic realm is far beyond our crown chakra,
Right.
okay? But this is where they will take form for you to see them. Lots of people want to see angels. Lots of people want to see their guides. Well, they have to be able to understand that it's not always safe to do so. You know, it's really not. I'm working with a client right now who said that she channeled Jesus and the angels, and then one day some kind of negative demon got a hold of her, and right now it's wrapped around her spine. But she never knew that you should protect yourself before you go looking for things that you know nothing about.
Uh-huh.
What can I say? You know, we all have to learn to anchor light. We all have to learn to create sacred space around us. We need to understand that our energy is sacred and that our energy deserves to be protected. I assume you must do some kind of higher meditation or something in order to keep yourself centered, in order to keep yourself being able to interact with guidance without there being a lot of static in there. I'm sure you've had experiences of psychic attack, and that's what happens with those energies.
Look, I absolutely have, and I have a different understanding in that I understand how energy works. In order to attract an energy, you have to be a similar resonance to that particular frequency. And so if you're actually connected to light energy, like higher frequency energy or higher vibrational beings, you're not a match to lower vibrational energy unless you come down to that vibration by engaging in angry, resentful thoughts, in engaging in thoughts that are actually a similar resonance to that energy or entity. I have had an experience when I was learning about all this where somebody was talking about negative energies, attachments. And I thought to myself, oh, I wonder what that's like. Be careful what you ask for, right? And then
Yes.
one day I'm in the car with a girlfriend of mine, dropping her off. And I said, God, I feel so exhausted. I don't know what's wrong with me today. And she was born thalidomide, and she had a hole in her heart. So she was always exhausted. And I remember saying to her, now I know how you feel most of the time, because she had lung problems, right? And then I went home and I asked my guides, what's happening? And they said to me that I had an energy attachment. And I said, why? And they said, you wanted to know what it felt like. And I went, all righty, now I know. And then I released it. But I don't worry too much about the thing about people. They get worried about things that they can't see. They can't perceive through their five senses. But if you keep your vibration high, you're protected. That word protection, because you're not a vibrational match to those energies.
I have to agree with that.
Yeah.
It took me a long time to reach that level of highness you're talking about.
Yeah, which means we have to clean up our crap, like our,
30 years I worked on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
No short time, mind you.
Yeah. Yeah. Which means we have to get over our grievances and forgive people and love them.
Judgments.
And
You got to get your judgments out of the way.
Judgments out of the way. Yep.
Your judgments are instilled in you from a very young age.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So changing vibration is a wonderful thing, but a lot of people don't understand they can do that.
Yeah.
And so they kind of read a book.
Right.
Or they see something on TV or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they decide that they should try it.
Right.
No, I'm not saying that's necessarily wrong, but I am saying that it doesn't hurt to have a teacher. It doesn't hurt to have someone guide you and help you while you are finding your own guides.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, yeah, absolutely.
I,
Yeah, I see
I
what you're
mean,
saying. It's like there are people that are interested in this stuff. They're still hating on their family. They're, resentment about the ex-lover, and they've had fights with their friends, and they hate their ex-boss. And then they say, "Ooh, I want to speak to my spirit guides." And then they call on an energy, and now they're a vibrational match to all that same negative energy that they're carrying, those resentments. And so they have good intentions to want to, but they need to clean up. They need to do the work first. They need to do the forgiveness
that's
work,
right.
the letting
That's
go of
right.
the,
And
transmutation.
I've talked to somebody lately, and maybe you can help with this. Um, she told me that she thinks that maybe things have shifted on the planet so that you don't have to do all that same work that you used to have to do. What do you think of that?
Oh, I definitely think that the energy is quickened on the planet, and that releasing old energies is a lot easier today than it used to be. Definitely, like you said, took you 30 years. Like that's what look, I work with people, and you do too, that can release really quickly, whereas it took me years, years and years of personal growth work and yeah. So, and it's a matter of, transmuting dense energy is a lot quicker these days than it was. Yeah, for sure.
And
But
I agree with that.
you agree with that?
Oh,
I,
yeah.
I want to get back to your story, because we're kind of got into the teaching, as teachers tend to do, instead of sticking to the story. Just for the first bit of this conversation, it's nice to hear people's stories. So, as a child, you were surrounded by people with what you call possessed, sort of demonic, like negative energy, like your dad. Look, I'm thinking about my dad, dear old dad too. He was a lovely man, but gee, he had anger problems, and so did his dad. And he used to just fly off the handle. Yeah. And of course, I had anger problems when I was thinking that was just normal, just getting angry at everything. And
Yeah, that wasn't getting angry. You could see his whole demeanor change. You could see.
yeah,
And everybody knew to get out of the way because,
yeah,
I had watched him accidentally almost kill my brother, beating his
right.
head into the window of the car one time.
Wow.
And it took three of us to pull him off of him.
Yeah.
And he would hit a certain point and that was it.
Yep. Yep.
It wasn't just anger management. Even
Right.
when I brought a priest when he was dying, a Catholic priest. And when he was in there with my father, and he kept saying, all you have to do is surrender to Jesus Christ and do this and do that. My father just kept saying, I ain't going there. I ain't going there. I ain't going there.
What was
Right?
his resistance? Did he just like hate religion, or?
No, it wasn't resisting. He knew what he had done. And he had done some pretty horrific things, but we're not going to go into that.
Yeah, but he just couldn't forgive himself, or he didn't want to. Anyway, that's your dad's story. So how did you, a psychic medium, seer, how did you cope with this as a child?
I left home when I was 15.
Yeah,
Actually, I left the country.
right.
I went from here to Canada, where I lived for some time. And then from Canada, I think I went to San Francisco, where I lived for some time. And then eventually I ended up in New York City,
Wow.
where I lived for some time. And yeah, I I never understood why people didn't travel. Okay. To me, it's like, how can you know what people are really like unless you meet them in different places?
Uh-huh.
New York City is a hub of all kinds of people, so you don't really have to worry there. You're always going to meet people I would meet publishers, I would meet writers, I would meet musicians, I would meet all kinds of people there.
Yeah.
And everybody there was just a person. Nobody was into the romanticism of like LA where you're going to see a star or something.
Sorry, I'm just rugging up. It's a little cold here. Um, okay, so how old were you when you were in New York City?
I think I was about 18 or 19.
And How long
And
did you live there? How long did you live there?
Oh, maybe a year. And then I found an agent in a talent place and started going out to Long Island to work. And that's when I decided to move out to Long Island.
What
where
were
I
you
lived.
doing work-wise? You were working as an actress, were you? When you say talented.
Yeah, I had an agent. It was great, but I also got pregnant about that time. So once I had my child, and I was glad I had her when I was in Long Island, her and I pretty much lived there for the next 20 years.
Oh, lovely. So
She's here today.
So how old is she today?
How old now? 50.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. So meeting your guides or meeting the angels, when did that happen? What were you doing when that sort of happened?
Well, what happened was I had gone to these psychic fairs, and people were telling me that they were in touch with their guides. Well, like I said, I always had a second sight, and I would look around them, and I couldn't see guides there. Sometimes I saw like a really big bird or this or that or the other. But I was like, I don't think these people know if they're talking to guides or not. So I had to know. I just had to know who are these guides? And so I was meditating regularly in the Garden of the Gods. I had just taken on my 2-year-old granddaughter to raise, and I met Red Cloud. And Red Cloud came and talked to me, and Red Cloud worked with me for a long time. He taught me how to do a medicine wheel, and the exact amount of stones that were to go down, and then I was depossessing people pretty regularly if I could get them in the wheel, and then he would meditate with me in his teepee together, and I think that's how I reached the angelic realm, because it was different than my own meditation. But I worked with Red Cloud and Two Feathers. That was a big time also for White Eagle. He was helping people too at that time.
So Red Cloud, Two Feathers, and White Eagle are spirit guides. Are there
yes,
spirit guides? They appeared to you as American Indian?
Yeah.
Did you I assume your grandmother's not around anymore, but did she come to you after she left this world?
No.
Oh. Okay.
No, she had a good death. There was no reason she needed to hang around or come back here.
I just thought to sort of help you. All right, fair enough.
No, I never had that kind of help. But anyway, after working with Red Cloud for about a year or so, let me see, about a year, was when I was searching everywhere for my guides. I mean, it was like I was going to the four corners of the earth or something. Red Cloud had me out there putting down medicine wheels all over the state, sometimes in another state, okay? And then I was doing a vision quest. And that's when you say you go to the four corners of the earth. And I searched, and I searched, and I searched, and I couldn't find. So I was sitting on my couch one day. I was just frustrated. And I said, oh, well, if I have to go on blind faith, I guess I will. And then all of a sudden, I realized I'm going, you guys, you're my guides, huh? You guys that have been here all along, huh? And they said, yeah, like you were expecting somebody you didn't know. they always have a great sense of humor. And I was like, yeah, I was expecting somebody I didn't know, actually.
Yeah.
And they said, no, it's us. It's just us. We've been with you right along. And then I did a sacred ceremony. I believe very strongly in sacred ceremonies. And I asked to be put in touch with my soul group, because I believe that we all have an oversoul. And everybody's not from the same soul group, but many of us are. And that's when I met like 1, 2, 3, 4, about 4 people, maybe 5, that I'm actually still in touch with, that were almost at the exact same point of learning that I was at. And so I went on a camping trip with one girl, and she channeled Archangel Raphael.
Right.
And after she got done, and we got done, because him and I just had a conversation. It wasn't anything like he was up here and I was down here, you know. And she said, I've never had him talk to anybody like that before. She said, he talked to you like your old friends. I said, I felt like we were old friends. And after that was when I started getting the visitations. Now, visitation means they come right here in the 3D.
Wow.
Okay. Visitations are not visions.
Right.
Visions are different.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So I was in bed. And of course, I had a couple other experiences in bed, like going into my light. I was taken into my light. I was on an altar inside a pyramid. And then I was taken out into this light. And that was the first experience I had with the light. Okay. And then one other time I was I was in Stonehenge. Okay. I mean, I was not there physically.
Mm-hmm.
I was just there. And the same thing kind of happened. It's like there was a lot of meaning to all this stuff that led up to where I was at. And then also Red Cloud taught me how to shapeshift. He taught me how to become a bird so that I could fly with him. And he took me flying over Arizona, where the other red rocks are. And he showed me how those red rocks were connected to the red rocks, the Garden of the Gods, that I meditated in. Sedona, that's where he took me. I had never heard of Sedona. I had no idea what that was. Okay. And so my teachers were always showing me and teaching me. But I awakened that night with this bright angel sitting on my bed. And when an angel comes, now there's 2 ways angels come. They'll come with their wings or without their wings.
Mm-hmm.
Rarely do they come with their wings. It is a real show of acknowledgement for you if they wear their wings when they appear. And this angel was sitting there, and I woke up and I was like, who are you?
So hang on, did they have wings on or wings off, this angel?
Gabriel had his wings on.
Oh, he had his wings on. All right, okay.
Okay, Gabriel has visited me more than once.
Right.
And so he told me who he was.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, how do I know you're not Satan?
Mm-hmm.
How do I know you're not an evil spirit?
Mm-hmm.
And he told me to look in my jewelry box. And when I did, I found a piece of jewelry, which I still have, which I never had before, which had, it's like a scrimshaw. It had etched out Gabriel together with Psyche. Okay? And anyway, Gabriel has so much love. I mean, when you're in the presence of that angel, the love, you just, there's nothing else, just the love. Okay? And Gabriel spoke to me at length. And then shortly thereafter, oh yeah, I was sitting in my living room and there was a loud crash, like the ceiling was coming in or something. And Archangel Michael came down right in front of me, took me to my knees. I mean, as he came in, I could feel him break down every force field around me.
Uh-huh.
Took me down to my knees and then started showing me every single time in my lifetime that he had saved my ass, okay? Which was a lot, okay?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I get it. You guys have been there right along, all right? I'm sure of it now. And then him and I had some discourse, and he wanted me to help the little gal who had taken me camping. He wanted me to help her with, you know, moving up the ladder. A lot of people think, well, you know, angels and guides, and there's no place to go. It's like, there's every place to go. No matter where you go, there's always every place more that you can go.
No matter where you go, there's always somewhere more to go. Absolutely. Yep.
You know?
So the little gal that you went camping with was the one that introduced you to Raphael. She had Raphael, and he said, I want you to help her move. How old were you around this time?
Archangel
Michael asked that. How old were you around this time that the angels started showing in your 30s?
38.
So they had been with you, but they just hadn't shown themselves to you. But they'd been with you, obviously, all along. We're always, always guided, all of us. It's just a matter of awareness. What do you think happened to you at 38 that allowed you to have these visitations?
I demanded them to help me because I was in so much pain.
Right.
So much depression. I was so bipolar, manic, whatever you want to call it, my whole life. And I said to them, I said, if you don't do something, I'm going to leave this world.
Okay.
I'm not going to stay here. And that's when they came in. And then Uriel showed up in the air. Uriel did not come down here, but Uriel in the air right there with a fire on his head, okay? And I called him the angel of the firing hair or whatever. But he had a book in his hand, and he told me who he was, and then he said, and I sit at the right hand of God. And I said, I believe that. I believe you. And then it was after that I was also in touch with Lord Ashtar. Have you heard of Ashtar?
Yep.
Okay. Violet Flame, Saint Germain.
Mm-hmm.
Lord Sananda was my major teacher during that time. It was my master teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the three of them, along with the angels. And every day I was taken out of my body for about an hour and received dissertations from a different teacher every time. And I said, I don't think I can remember all of this. And I was told, it doesn't matter, it's in there. And when you need it, it's going to come out.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, okay, let's go.
Okay, let's go. So apart from healing your depression and your negative thoughts about being here, what did they want you to do specifically for this world?
They didn't ask me to do anything.
Right.
Okay. Raphael and them worked with me for 2 years, nonstop. clearing out the debris in my soul.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then it was like, yes, I had agreements with them.
Yeah.
They don't ask you, or at least I've never known them to ask me without me saying, okay, let's agree to this.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And so Lord Michael, more than anybody, came to me if he wanted me to do something. Raphael pretty much just stayed with me. I was a mess. I really didn't feel that I would be okay unless one of them would stay with me. Okay? And so one day, sitting on the couch again, Raphael, Saint Germain, Lord Sananda, and Lord Ashtar were together. Now, they didn't all come like down here, okay? They were together, and it felt like they put like some kind of big vacuum on my head, okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
And pulled a whole bunch of stuff out of me, okay? And I call it my walk-in experience because I've never been that same person since that happened.
Right. Yeah.
And that's when I truly began to heal.
Yeah.
And they told me, they said, we're taking this out of you until you are strong enough to face it yourself. When you are strong enough to face it yourself, we will bring it back in increments for you to heal.
And did they do that?
Oh, yeah.
So what specifically was it that they took out of you? Like
The
anger,
sadness, the pain,
sadness,
the suffering.
pain.
Okay?
So from your past lives and childhood, or yeah.
Well, yeah, I have done a lot of work with Raphael already.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Raphael taught me how to go within and look at everything. Look at my past lives. I must have seen 50 past lives with him.
Yeah.
And we also rescued parts of myself from those past lives.
Yeah.
I got left there. Okay.
Yeah.
And it was really, I had two girls come and get a reading one day, and I was talking to the girls, and they said, what you do is called hypnotherapy. And I said, oh, there's a name for this? And they said, yeah. I said, I can go to school, I can get a certificate. And they said, sure. And so I did. I went to a transpersonal hypnotherapy school. And
I heard you say this on Kevin's show, and you said that what they taught you was nothing compared to what Archangel Raphael had taught you.
Oh.
But they gave you a piece of paper you could put on your wall and say, look, I'm a hypnotherapist. Which,
That's what they did.
yeah, I'm just going to grab the heater. I'm just a bit cold. Yeah, go on.
And so it's like, I've been like any other human being, you know. I want to have goals. I like to have goals. I like to learn. I like to achieve. And most of all, I reached a point where I think that I have a complete channel in my head somewhere. That information is continually coming in all the time. Okay? So I don't have to read books the way I used to, because I can get better information through this channel. But I also understand that I am an anomaly. I am not. I have taught so many people how to go within that are now in touch with their guides. Okay? And that all happened many, many years ago. But I find that I have the ability to teach you this, but you have to be dedicated and really want to do it. It's not something where you can say, okay, I'm going to sign up for 4 weeks and come to 2 of them or whatever. It doesn't work that way.
Mm-hmm. So did the different identities of the angels have a specific mandate, vibration? Like Raphael, what was, I'm not going to call it a he or a she, this energy specifically, what does this energy specifically help humans with?
Archangel Raphael and Michael are the two that help the earth people more than anyone else. Okay, so what you'll hear people say, gee, you know, I think it was Raphael or Michael. You'll hear them all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, they have legions of light. Okay, and any one of those in the legion can represent them at any time if needed. Okay, so, you know, it's like if I'm talking to Raphael, I'm talking like through a microphone that says, oh, Raphael, are you there? And then whatever energy comes through, I can identify that. Now, they told me I became fully integrated in spirit about 2 years ago. They also told me that I had completed all my contracts with spirit. Okay?
Yeah.
But I had made contracts like crazy because I wanted to learn. I just wanted to learn. I wanted to do it. You know, I didn't want to feel that way anymore.
Yeah.
There's nothing like depression. There's just not.
Yeah, it's a bitch. Okay, so you've completed all your contracts. So the contracts were like I want to learn. I want to be in a physical dimension, and I want to remember what it's like not to be in a physical dimension while I'm still in a physical dimension, basically. Like I want to remember how to be the light while in a dense environment. That was the sort of contracts,
My contract was, whatever you guys need me to do, you tell me, and I'll do it. And in return, I want all the learning I can get.
Right. Nice. So, okay, so Raphael and Michael are the two energies that help humanity the most, you said. And Uriel, what does Uriel, the energy of Uriel, do for humanity?
Uriel holds the book of life, and not your life per se, but your soul's life.
So like
okay?
the Akashic records.
Yes.
Yeah. The filing cabinet of
You won't
lifetimes.
see much on Uriel. You won't see people saying, I channel Uriel.
Right. Okay.
If you do, be careful, beware.
Okay. So who? It's funny. This week I've got Belinda Womack coming into my online group, who also channels the Archangels. Synchronistic. I didn't sort of make that. Like I didn't consciously do that. It's just synchronistically. This week for me is all about the Archangels, which is beautiful. And she didn't really, when I had her on the show, she really didn't go into the energies of the angels. She just sort of said that, you know, they are infinite, their energy is infinite, but she sort of separates them into the 12 archangels, she said. So who else? So you've got Uriel, Michael, Raphael.
And Gabriel.
So what does Gabriel's energy do?
Gabriel is an angel of love, unconditional love. Washes over you. It will always bring tears to your eyes. I mean, it's so pure, the unconditional love of Gabriel, that no matter who you are, you will cry. So, but I'm saying, I know these angels like I know you. We have sat in the same room and talked together. Okay? It's different for me than, oh, I finally found my guides and they're all here somewhere. Okay? It's different for me. And it took me a long time to realize that.
Yeah.
Okay?
Have you ever heard of Lorna Byrne?
No, I haven't.
She's an Irish woman that was, when she was a child, she was labeled as retarded. She was just unbelievably dyslexic, she calls it. She can't even say dyslexic. She's so cute. She goes, dyslexic. Do I say it right? Anyway,
Right.
she's in her 60s now, and she never learnt to read or write. But the angels were there, just like, her conversation is just like yours. They were like physical beings to her. She would talk to them and walk with them. And I remember one day she was walking with Michael, and she was in a convent. She used to go there to meditate and just have solace. She had no friends. Nobody wanted to talk to her. She only had the angels. And she was walking with Michael, and he had dressed himself up looking a bit like a monk. And another monk walked past, a physical guy, and said hello to Michael dressed as a monk. And she looked at him and said, he can see you. And he goes, yeah, sometimes we can appear as real as you. And I love that they can appear so real, like physical humans. Is that how they appear to you, as real as any other person?
Sort of. I mean, I don't know any other person that would come through my ceiling like Michael did.
Right.
After Uriel came with the flaming hair, and it didn't even come down, my washing machine suddenly had a flame in the bottom of it that woke me up in the morning. It scared me to death. I unplugged it and it stopped. I called it the burning bush. That came with Uriel. It's different for everyone.
Yeah.
And that's why people say, well, they get possessive of their guides. Like, I've seen them. These are my angels. And I'm like, well, good luck with that. They're all of our angels.
Yeah, good luck with that. Yeah, as you're talking, I'm getting that they will appear to you specifically for you, to sort of give you a thrill, a message. Yeah, they can appear to you. It's different for everyone. Whatever you're going to connect with.
Nobody has appeared to me except Gabriel a couple of times since then. And it was
since then, right.
When I was hurting really bad. I was really down. I was sad. And Gabriel came, to talk to me, to help me to understand I was going to make it through that time. Raphael speaks to me all the time if I need him to. He's not real available to me right now. I think because I'm not channeling a whole lot or anything. And if I need him, all I have to do is call. And whether it's him or an emissary, someone will come.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? My higher self.
You just read my mind. You just read my mind. I was just thinking, where does your higher self fit in with this? Yep, go on.
Your higher self is where all other spirit consciousness reaches you. Okay? If your higher self is not activated or enlightened, you're enlightened to it or whatever, anybody's Uncle Bob can come to you and say, ooh, I'm a spirit guide. Ooh, I'm an angel. Ooh. No. No, it's only through your higher self that they come. All right? So yes, I have heard voices my entire life, but not like they say, wanting to hurt people or this or that or the other. Mm-mm. And I defined when I was learning, me and Aloria, and we all had our way of identifying who we were talking to,
mm-hmm.
to make sure that it was who we wanted to talk to. Because we realized anybody's, wandering spirit around here can come and talk to you and tell you anything. And I had been crossing over those passed on since I was in my 20s.
Mm. So when the dead relatives showed up when you were a kid, what did they want from you? Did they want you to help them, or did they just want to say, come say hello?
No, tell the family I'm okay.
Tell the family
I'm okay. I'm safe. I'm better off than I was.
Stop worrying. Stop crying. Stop
Yeah,
fretting.
that's what they would tell me.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And crossing people over, how does that appear to you? You just, you get a, you get.
I spent most of my life out of body, okay?
Okay.
From probably the first time that I took a beating, I left my body.
Right.
And I didn't come back into my body fully until I was in my 30s, okay?
Right.
But all during that time, I mean, I could travel all kinds of places out there. I could easily take a soul and show them what I call the tunnel to go through to get to the light. I just couldn't go through the tunnel, okay, because I'm not dead, all right? I've been out there. Red Cloud taught me how to travel the skies, to go see whatever I wanted to see. And then I also went into Inner Earth. I have sisters and brothers that live in the ocean, okay?
Yeah.
Mermaids, mermen,
Yeah.
what's his name?
Neptune.
Neptune, yeah. Okay, and it's like, they've had to go to a different ocean, so to speak, because of all the damage that humans are doing to the oceans at this time.
Okay, well, let me talk about that. I've got brothers and sisters in the ocean too. Let me talk about that. So how do I've thought about that. I have thought about that. Are they in our polluted oceans, or would they get out of those polluted oceans? That I've
Yeah,
had
they're
that.
not in there. No,
So when you say another ocean, are they physical beings on this earth, or are they etheric beings in our physical ocean?
To me, they're just real, okay? They're like anybody else. When I went down there and they told me they were having to move because the oceans were getting too polluted, I understood. And it's like, can we still reach them and talk to them? I suppose you can, but I would have to go through the tunnels that they went through to find them. One of the other tunnels that I found in my journeys was under the Sphinx in Egypt. Okay, I traveled to the Sphinx. I wanted to see the pyramids. And when I got there, there was a door that opened at the bottom of the Sphinx. And you went down in, and there were like these stairs that went on and on and on and on. And I was told that people used to be able to travel these tunnels underneath the earth to get to other places, okay?
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that you see and you learn about. I have trouble with getting people to use their imagination to start with. You got to use your imagination if you're going to go into vision, okay?
What did Einstein say? Logic will get you so far, imagination will get you anywhere, everywhere. So, Athena, do you think that this is all going to open up again as humanity rises? I mean, so with your travels, obviously you're out of body traveling, you come back into your body, you have full memory of where you've been.
Oh, yeah.
Full memory. Oh, that is
Always.
so cool. So do you
Always.
think that this is all going to reopen and people will be able to use them?
It's not a reopening that's going to happen.
Reawareness.
Okay. We're in an Enlightenment period similar to 1986, okay, when the harmonic convergence was. That was when a whole lot of people that were ready to wake up woke up and got on their path. Same thing is happening now. No, it's not everybody on the planet that's going to wake up, okay? Because they're not ready. All right? The people who do wake up will find that there are many things that they can discover in, like, I have like all my meditational CDs up on cdbaby.com. and they will take you and journey you into the earth. They will journey you out to the skies, okay? And these places, people will find what they need for them. Okay, I've never been one to tell people what they're supposed to see per se, or what's supposed to come out of something. I don't believe in that. Mm-hmm. Okay, I believe that each person learns in their own way. Each person discovers through their own personality. And until they get beyond that personality, that's going to be truth for them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
And it's not easy to get past your personality. It's just not.
Yeah, personality is strong. So you went through the Sphinx, through the tunnel in the Sphinx, and you said that these tunnels are all over inside the world, in the inner earth, right?
Yeah. Have you recently seen the thing on TV where they go into this big, gigantic crystal cave down in the earth?
No. What's that
Yeah.
called?
It's
When
a
you
physical,
say TV,
it's a physical place.
do you mean TV like
they have,
Netflix TV, or do you mean like normal TV?
no, it's probably on like one of those learning channel places, but all you have to do is look it up online, and the crystals are gigantic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're bigger than anything you can imagine, and they have to wear oxygen masks and everything down there because it's so deep in the earth. There's a lot of stuff in the earth that people know nothing about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so the angels have shown you this stuff.
Not the angels, my guides.
Your guides. You know, when I look in your eyes, I just see such a galactic being. Like I know that you've been a long time earther, like you're one of the ancient ones, but I see so much galactic energy in you, like higher dimensional. How does the angelic realm and the galactic realm dovetail?
I don't really know. They work together.
Mm-hmm.
They all work together in the etheric.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And in the etheric, it's different than the astral. Okay? The etheric consciousness is more refined.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay?
Subtle.
And so I was always pretty much able to communicate with otherworldly beings telepathically. Okay? And so when I met all of these wonderful beings, I met Ashtar a long time before this happened. I met Ashtar at a conclave. Do you know what a conclave is?
Not
Okay,
really.
The Galactic Brotherhood, they hold conclaves here in the physical. And they bring people together to teach them. And then they'll have one person that channels like Ashtar, who has given them the instructions on how to set things up. And then Ashtar will usually come through and guide you on the whole thing. I met him in a conclave years before this. I can't even remember when. But I was like, how come everybody doesn't know about these guys? I mean, how can you not know about these guys?
So a conclave is a group of people that know they're connected to their galactic counterparts, who come together physically, and one person channels and then gives information to those people to activate, to do things on the earth. Like they kind of give instructions from the high dimensional beings.
Oh, they'll have a thing right there, you know, where everybody will look in each other's eyes and see if they can see the soul and this and that and the other. You know, it's very informative. It's not like you're just thrown into something. You always have choice.
Yeah. So how did you
meet? You always have choice.
How did you get to one of these conclaves? Someone met you and said, you know, we're doing this thing, come along, we're having this group, let's go.
No, earlier, I had set up a retreat out here.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a girl who used to channel Ashtar that put out a newsletter. And I read the newsletter and I was like, oh yeah, this is it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I called her up. Her name is Carol Messenger. As a matter of fact, she's got a new book out, which is, I guess, picked up by a publisher right now. But I'm not surprised. She was an excellent writer. And she was holding the conclaves. And they were being held out at what is called the Sanctuary of Light. But I don't think it's there anymore because the man who ran it was so old, I think that he's passed by now.
So which part of America was this? Is this in
Colorado.
Colorado, right? Okay. So near the Red Rocks, is it?
No, it was out east.
East. Right.
Out by Calhan or someplace.
Uh-huh.
But it was a sanctuary of like this old man had literally brought people together to put stones. I mean, there were, what do you call it, pathways everywhere. And then you could even take a pathway up to this pyramid. I think it was copper, but it had crystals hanging down. And then there was a sign that said, if you go in here, please send out light to all the leaders of the world.
Oh, beautiful. I think I've seen that on television somewhere or on some YouTube or something. I think I've seen that place. Sounds very familiar. I think they did he built it all himself, right?
He did. He
by
had
hand.
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's amazing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you went there and did a conclave there, and that's where you met Ashtar. So
Yeah.
for people who don't know who Ashtar is, who is Ashtar?
Lord Ashtar. Okay. And I call him Lord Ashtar because he is a lord. And you'll hear me call the other ones Lord as well. Lord Ashtar and the Ashtar Command, okay, are a group of etheric beings
Mm-hmm.
who work with the brotherhoods of light and also with the angels. Okay? And them too. Okay, when I traveled to Sedona, then I went down in the earth, and that's where they were. That's where they lived. Okay? And one day, when I was growing by leaps and bounds now, mind you. I would get lost going to the grocery store and back home, which was like 5 blocks away. Where am I? Where am I now? And this gigantic, now I can show you the ships in the sky, okay? This gigantic ship came down right in front of me into the field next to me and right into the earth. It was amazing. I could not deny any longer that the ships exist, okay? And I have another friend. We've taken people out to see them. You have to go with the sky. It's dark. You're not going to see them much in the city.
I've seen them in the city.
Oh, so have I.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you have to see them with your inner eye. You can't see them with your physical eyes. But I have seen that.
With my physical eyes, no, it was, and the ones in the sky too.
Mm.
I've shown my husband's here. He didn't believe. I said, "Come on, let me show you. I'll show you the ships."
Yeah.
And he shut up after that.
And he shut up after that. I was telling I went for a walk with my neighbour who works for the Catholic diocese here. She's very Catholic. Anyway, we have very interesting conversations. And I talk about ETs all the time. She thinks I'm mad. So we went for a walk down at the beach. We live in the city. And I asked them, okay, you're going to show her something. Come on, let's show her something. And we were watching a busker. And I looked up and I saw these 2 lights. But it was dark. But it was this long, elongated ship, and there was a light on the back and a light on the front, and it was kind of moving across the sky very slowly. It looked very low. And I said to her, there you go, there's an ET, there's a craft up there. And she said, oh, that's a plane. And I said, well, look at the way it's moving. Planes don't move like that. So she's looking and she's looking, and then she goes, what the F is that? And I said, I told you it's a ship. But she could not compute. Like it doesn't belong in her paradigm. It's not
Right.
possible in her paradigm, right? But and then she had a bit of a panic attack after that.
Stop and move back and forth to show somebody, it's us, it's us, it's us.
Yeah.
It's not a plane in the sky, it's not a star. See, stars don't move back and forth like that.
Yeah, exactly. So the ships, I know that you're in touch, you channel the Arcturians as well. How long have we been talking? Look, there's so much to you, Athena, that, we could talk for days, but it would be good to sort of get the perspective of the higher dimensional beings, what's happening in our world like right now. We're in 2020, we're kind of in chaos, and lots of people are kind of worried, really worried. We've gone through well, we haven't finished with the pandemic yet, but we're in the middle of a sort of pandemic, and now the riots. What have they been talking to you about?
Not really.
Not really.
The Divine Mother came in December.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The Divine Mother, the mother of us all, came in because Mother Earth reached out to her, not because of the people. Okay. But one of the things that nobody thought would happen, the Divine Mother is nobody to mess with. Okay. She really will, and like they said, since we had the, quarantine, that the atmosphere was clearer in China, and this was the oceans, and, it's like those things have to be cleaned up. Things have to change, okay? And unfortunately, people do not change without pain. And it's part of what a human being is made of. And that is why we have, and say, get to the heart chakra, get out of your lower chakras, get up here to a place of love. And if it takes pain for you to do that, then pain you shall have.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And she's really, I am honored that she's here. Okay? I am honored that she'll speak to me. But I also know they're all very busy right now because there is so much chaos going on that people are praying like they never prayed before. Yeah. And all prayers are answered. They told me that a long time ago. Every prayer is answered.
Instantly.
Don't ever think that your prayer is not heard.
Every prayer is answered instantly in a vibrational reality.
No, not instantly. I prayed for my sister, and I prayed for her and prayed for her and prayed for her. And then she died anyway. She OD'd. Well, then I went up there after she died. I was mad. And I said, well, what happened to all those prayers I did? And they said, every one of your prayers was heard. When she's ready to receive it, it'll still be there for her.
Nice. Yeah. Well, praying for another is a little different because they have free will, right? So,
right. But you can't control other people, no matter how much you wish you could.
But praying for every prayer is answered instantly in a vibrational or in an etheric reality. It just needs time to manifest in a physical reality, and we have to give it we have to align with the energy in order for it to manifest. So it seems like prayers aren't answered, but I'm sure that you prayed for the well-being of your sister, and she died, and there she was, like I had a friend of mine who died, Nikki. She was born thalidomide affected, and she went into a coma, and that night I saw her, And I said, "Oh, are you all right?" And she said, "I'm fine." And I'm like holding her saying, "Are you sure you're all right?" She said, "I'm fine, KAren, I'm fine." And I said, "Promise me you're okay." She said, I promise you I'm okay." And then I rang her sister the next morning and said, "I saw Nikki last night. She told me she's fine. She's going to be fine." And then she dies the next day. And she came to me and I said, "You told me you were going to be fine." And she said, "I am fine. I'm just not in my body."
Exactly.
And I'm like, I should have asked a different question. I should have said, "Are you going to stay in your body?" And that would have been a different answer, right?
Yeah.
She probably would have said, "No, I'm not going to stay in my body, but I'm fine." But I didn't ask that question. So, yeah. So I'm sure that you prayed for the well-being of your sister and she received it, but she had to die to receive it.
Well, that and I went to see her after that, and she hadn't really gone anywhere. She had gone. A lot of people do this. They die, and then like you'll see rows of houses with lawn and everything. People will go there and live exactly like they lived here.
Yeah, to an astral
They won't go.
second
They
earth.
won't go on. Yes.
Yeah. Nikki did that too, because
And
Nikki
then
was
it's like
sick her whole life, and she
reincarnation fast.
Yeah. It's like they achieve desires in that astral realm that they couldn't achieve on Earth. Like she couldn't travel because she was sick, and she couldn't get insurance, and she was very sick her whole life because she was affected by the drug thalidomide, and she was physically deformed, but mostly internally deformed. And after she died, she went to a friend of mine, Cyrus, calls it second Earth. She went to an astral Earth and traveled the world. Like she did in this Earth environment what she couldn't do in this particular Earth. And
Right.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
And they are, they are having, well, I'm not going to say a problem, but where are all these souls supposed to go if they don't go anywhere?
How do you mean?
I mean, they got to come right back in here. But are they going to be a human being this time? Or are they going to be a cow? What the hell are they going to be?
Yeah, I heard you say on Kevin's show, because the variety of what can happen to us after we leave this physical form is as vast as the universe. Everyone says, "What happens with you when you die?" It's like saying, "Well, what happens when you live?" It's like so vast, it's so varied. But you did talk about some souls that, if we're speaking in linear time from a linear mind perspective, we'll die and then reincarnate like straight into another body, without having life reviews and all that sort of stuff. They'll just kind of go whoop, like do a U-turn. And as I was listening to you, I was thinking about that, because see this little one here, when he died as a she in her other cat form, I had a dream and I saw exactly that. It was like I saw her little black body and I saw this little soul spirit go up and do a U-turn and come straight back down into a little black kitten. And I went, wow, just the U-turn. And this one turns up 4 weeks as a kitten in my garden after my other black cat died. Like it just came straight back into a cat body. It was amazing.
Yeah, we rescued the kitty we have now. And I had just lost Samantha. And Samantha, Semi-Kitty, she was telepathic with me and everything else. And then we got this kitty. So I told my husband, Bill, this is your cat, because he was always jealous about Semi-Kitty, how much she loved me. And I said, well, here's your chance. Well, I was laying in bed one day, and I think it was, well, I could always feel Semi-Kitty coming back to visit me. But I was laying, I think it was after one of my shoulder replacements. Animals always know when you're hurting. And she was up on the bed with me, and I watched Semi-Kitty come down inside this kitty. All right? And so now they're both in
there. Yeah, crowded, right?
They seem to be getting along fine. But that was the oddest thing. I've never seen that before. Although I have seen souls immediately reincarnate. Okay? But I'd never seen that.
Yeah, well, it's really interesting because the soul is so much faster than we give it credit for. I had a friend that died, and I did a healing on his family. He kept asking me to heal him, and I knew he wasn't. There was no healing him. He was out of here. You know, I'm like,
Yeah.
exit stage left. But I just brought his family together, and I just got them all to speak to each other before he died and tell them how much they appreciate. Because as much as they were a loving family, they weren't very vocal. They never really said how much they appreciated each other. Very Australian to do that, be very stoic, you know, like, she'll be right, mate. I don't need to tell you how much I love you. But anyway, and it was and then he got to one of his grandchildren and he started crying because he had 7 kids and many grandchildren. And I thought, now, why is this one so special? And my guide said to me, because it's him. Like, he'd already incarnated as this 2-year-old before he'd left his body.
That's right.
And so I've watched this kid grow, and oh my God, he's so like him. Even the way he dances is exactly the same. It's hysterical. Yeah. So
the mannerisms, I mean, you can see them early on.
Mm.
And then, you know, people talk to me about old souls and new souls. And I go, I have no idea why. Okay. You'll have to ask somebody higher up than me. Okay. Because I'm not in charge of any of that stuff. So you have an answer for that?
For what? Ask why for?
Old souls, new souls.
Oh, right. So do you feel like doing a little bit of channeling? Just hear from maybe the mother? You said the mother came through to you just to give a message to humanity in these crazy times?
Sure.
Sure.
I don't know who will come through.
Well, whoever wants to come through, that'd be lovely.
Okay. Because like I said, there's a lot of stuff going on right now out there. And people have even been having a hard time getting into a decent meditation. That's how scattered the energies are out there right now. Oh, and that's one more point I want to make. Meditate. Learn to meditate. Please learn to meditate. Okay, that's it.
Meditate, 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 meditate.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I call to the power of light that I am. I call to the angels, Michael, Raphael, Gabriel, Uriel, Arachiel, Azrael, Ramiel, and Raziel. I call to all my teachers and guides, all those that assist, guide, guard, and protect, and ask that you bring your energy forward and allow a spokesperson to come through for us today. And so there's somebody here already. Anyway, they say you have a question and they want me to ask you what that question is.
Just a message for humanity with the riots happening in the States.
Let's see. It's a trial by fire. Mm-hmm. It's fire represents the purification, and it represents the flame, the holy flames of light, of which violet flame has been with you for centuries, but many of the other flames haven't interacted with earth beings in a long time. The flames are the flames of purification, cleansing, transmutation, and transition. Much of what's going on has been actually asked for in one way or another. This is a time of people learning to respect and appreciate other people just because they are people. This pandemic has everybody up in an uproar because it is affecting all the people on the planet. This pandemic was initiated by the higher realms to help humanity discover what's important? There has been too much anger, too much hatred, too much ugliness that has been hidden inside, and that is coming out now. It's not going to be a pretty picture, but remember who you are. Always remember who you are. If you are indeed connected to God or the divinity, you definitely will understand how you must maintain a level of compassion, joy, and harmony, as those things are still there. This is a sad time for people to believe that another color of people deserve less or more than someone else has been a wrong teaching for a long, long time. Okay. All right. Can I get a little drink for a second?
Of course, dying one. Absolutely. Please drink.
So I put on lipstick and I shouldn't have. dries up my mouth. All right. Okay. All right.
So who will
Jesus wants to come through.
Oh, beautiful. Sananda?
No, Jesus.
Beautiful.
Okay. Jesus says there are many who are calling and needing his energy at this point in time. Of course, all the Christians, but everyone is really a Christian if they will just understand that they are everything all of the time. I am here to help souls heal and cross. I have to take them and help them when they die so that they can make a different kind of return other than the right back into body and the same thing all over again. This is, and now there's a whole group of them. And I'm going to say it's Jesus and the disciples. Okay? And I've never seen him with the disciples before. And he said, these men, when they were men, were taught to live judiciously, non-judgmental, aware of the panic and power that the material brings, and to set people on a course that would allow them to understand the importance of the soul and the spirit. And that's what's going on now. The importance of the soul and spirit. That's what this awakening is about. Without that, there would be no point to hide the darkness inside the light. It doesn't work. Sooner or later, the light will infiltrate the darkness. And it has been so dark for too long around the planet by people's judgments of others. And I would ask all to understand that you are the Christ. You are the Christ consciousness. And the Christ consciousness is what the teachings are about. They were never about the man, Jesus, that I am. They were always about God and the Christ consciousness. And this is what is having to be faced at this point in time by many of the so-called devout Christians. Now, there is no need to be angry about the ignorance, for it is not really ignorance. It's a shut door. It's a door that's been shut and sealed, closed, and locked for a very, very, very long period of time that's being opened. And this is causing, what do they call it? Skeletons out of the closet to come out.
Mm-hmm.
And that has to be the way it is for people to see the truth. This is not about not caring or loving you beings. This is about you loving one another and coming together and understanding that love is greater than all of the dysfunction in the world.
Mm.
So
Love
it
is
is
greater.
massive. It is massive.
Love is greater than all the dysfunctions in the world. So what would you like to say, Jesus, to people who feel they want to help? They're watching the news, they're getting angry at, they're all up in the story. It's the this people doing it. No, it's the that people doing it. No, it's the politicians. And they're trying to, get Trump out of power, and Trump's good and Trump's bad. And, they're all up in the story, and they're all sort of involved in the details of what's happening, but they feel like they want to help, but what do you want to say to these people?
Check yourselves. Know where you are at. Know what your truth is. And know what your understanding is about. And continue to emanate that. There is not a matter of taking any sides here. This is a matter of you individually. One person, one aware person of true Christ consciousness resonates out to 100 or 1,000 others.
Hundreds of thousands.
Never feel that your vibration is stifled, for it is not. And that's what I would say.
Beautiful. Thank you.
But indeed, one more time, it is a cleansing. Everything that's going on is a much needed cleansing. And if that cleansing didn't occur, nothing was going to change. And unfortunately, for humans, change only comes through pain and sadness. No reason for you to feel that. No reason for our channel to feel that. It is about them learning from one another.
Mm-hmm. And
Okay?
how long do you think that this time of transition and change will continue for? Will there be a time where humans stop needing to suffer in order to change? How long do you think this time of disruption will go on for?
Okay, you speak of two things.
Okay.
But the disruption, okay, that you speak of is due to fear that has not been faced in the past.
Yeah.
Okay? As people begin to face the fear, people will begin to understand that we are just human beings. And that if human beings don't begin to honor and help each other, then it's always going to be challenging. At first, when the refugees were turned away, and then continually turned away, and turned away, and turned away, that is unacceptable. Each human life has the same meaning as any other. Each human being must understand and come to an awareness that they are part of the problem or part of the healing. Does that answer your question?
Yes. Let me just reiterate. Each human being has to understand that your focus is part of the problem or part of the healing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you will find people are becoming aware and enlightened very quickly, even out of all the chaos.
Absolutely.
Will come a rose.
Thank you. Thank you for being with us today.
Blessings. I am here for you too. You can talk to me. It's okay.
Oh, I know, you talk to me all the time. Have done since I was born.
Okay. All right, I'm going to say goodbye now. I don't see Jesus very often, okay?
Oh, he's part of my mob.
I knew he was around too. With some of my regression work with people, Jesus has been in there. And that has really helped them because that's who they relate to.
Yeah. Well, he's a part of the reconciliation process, which is really the issue that's happening at the moment. His energy, the Christ consciousness, is about that judgment that we spoke about and about reconciliation. And yeah, so that's really a part of the energy of the Christ consciousness, which is what's happening on our planet right now. It's this, I have in my online group, I was saying I've got quite a few beautiful black women in the group, and I'm saying, God, this stuff was going on in the 60s. Can you believe in 2020 we're still going through this shit? Like this issue of they call it race. It's crazy to talk about race. There's one race, it's called the human race. Isn't like the color of someone's skin shouldn't be an issue in 2020, and yet here we are. So
yes, my daughter always says, Mom, you're totally unconscious when it comes to that. No prejudice. My daughter's black, okay? She's 50 years old, We don't know which side to be on.
There are no sides. There's no sides.
No, there are not in this house either.
But yeah, my daughter knows no prejudice either. She doesn't understand it either. She's not even been taught it. It wasn't even in her consciousness until I was laughing with a friend about this one that I told you about, Nikki, that died. Her mother was really snobby. And she said, we can't have a black man talking in the golf club. And we thought that was hilarious. We were just laughing at her ignorance. And my daughter was listening to our conversation. She didn't understand it. Why can't you have a black man in the golf club? It didn't compute. It's like it just didn't compute in her awareness. And I loved that it didn't compute in her awareness. And I was thinking, hopefully that generation, those old thought forms won't carry through. But as I'm watching what's happening in the world, they obviously have carried through. And
well, they have carried through. But like you said, in the younger generation, okay, this was not the younger generation that, too many Black people have been killed by police officers for no reason other than, why not shoot them in the leg? Why not shoot them in the arm? Must you kill? If you feel threatened, then you can do something about it. But when someone's running away, I don't see how threatened you can feel. How about you?
How about me what?
How threatened would you feel if someone was running away from you?
Yeah, not threatened at all.
Exactly.
Well, Athena, it's been just so beautiful to hear some of your story. I know there's so much more. What fascinated me was the tunnel under the Sphinx. I'd like to sort of travel down there and see where that goes.
You really should. One of the things I found is the more traveling you do, the more you discover all kinds of things that you never knew before.
Yeah.
Now, like I said, that stairwell was there. But I was traveling in the astral.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
But, when Red Cloud took me to fly over Sedona, I was a bird.
Yeah. Did you go into the mountain and visit with the ETs in the mountain?
I took a trip to Sedona.
Yeah, in Sedona.
And that's when I found them.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of walk-ins in Sedona.
Yeah.
That belong to the different groups.
The different nations, galactic nations. Yeah.
Definitely.
It's a really cosmic place, isn't it?
We have
a place called Byron Bay in Australia. It's in northern New South Wales, and it's the same there. lots of galactic beings, lots of walk-ins. Yeah. And I have to say, Sydney is pretty extraordinary as well. Lots of galactic beings. It's an
Oh,
extraordinary.
I'd love to come over there. I would just love it.
Yeah, it's an extraordinary place, Australia. And the Indigenous, our Indigenous are very connected to the Pleiades. It's said that the Uluru, the rock, it was given a name by white people called Ayers Rock, but the Indigenous call it Uluru, is actually a part of the Pleiades. It seeded planet Earth. It was a conscious bit of the Pleiades that went into the formation of Earth and seeded life into Earth. And they're all their teachings, the Indigenous Australians, they talk about the star people, and yeah, so we're all going.
There's a rock in Georgia that they say is connected to Ayers Rock.
Oh, okay.
Some people took me there last time I was in the area.
Beautiful. Yeah. Well, everything's connected. It's all one, really. It's just a matter of,
Well, what do they call that? Is the cosmic ley lines?
The cosmic ley lines, yep. The ley lines of the planet, yep. But I suppose we should go so you can have your dinner and I can have my breakfast. It's actually nearly lunchtime now here.
Thank you for having me.
It's been beautiful. And so for people who want to you've got these guided meditations there on your website, and your website is, it's your name,
AtheneRaphael.com. Yes.
So it's Athene or Athene, Athene, Raphael, RAEFIEL.com. Beautiful. Thank you again.
Thank you for having me. Namaste.
What a fascinating conversation with Athena. Athene or Athene. She says, either you can call her either. I said, how do you want me to say your name? She said, you can call me Athena or Athene. It's up to you. So I don't know. I used both. Fascinating conversation. There's so many places we could have gone. Yeah, interesting. Very interesting. She's got many more stories to share, I'm sure. But it's interesting that she's experienced in this life both the very dark and the very light and everything in between. She's really kind of run the gamut of experiences one can have as a physical human being connected to the light. Yes, wonderful. Interesting that Jesus came through. No surprise to me that he's coming through at this time of reconciliation. What's going on our planet right now. It's interesting. There's some interesting Facebook posts about how the protests, even though they're protesting about the unfairness of the way the black community's been treated by the police institutions in America, there are so many people inciting more violence, like they're whipping it up, they're kind of creating this divide, and it's sort of interesting. But with all of this, with all that's happening, it's not up to us as the difference makers, as the beings of light, as the light workers, as the light weavers, as the star nation, whatever you want to call yourself, really, it doesn't matter. As someone here that's here to uplift human consciousness, it's not up to us to get caught up in the story of right and wrong and who is doing what and why and who is right and who is wrong, because we can go down that tunnel and get sucked into it. It's like this magnetic force that draws you into it, and then you're in outrage, and then you're in anger, and then you're in the lower, denser emotions. And look, as human beings, we have the choice. We can be in the lower, denser emotions and swim around in the density of anger and resentment and outrage and upset. We're given that choice. But as beings here to make a difference, now my nose is running, it is for us to be able to witness it and stay connected to the lighter, subtler dimensions or vibrations or thoughts of seeing the perfection. Like Athena and my guides were saying this in our group on Monday we were talking about this. I had a plan to get people pairing up and talk to each other's guides, but that didn't happen because the conversation got all swept up in what's happening in the world at the moment about the riots. And the guidance that was coming through is that in order for new systems to come into place, in order for the new world to come into place, old systems have to crumble. And they gave me the analogy, which I thought was very clever, because I love renovation shows. All those renovation shows that fixer-upper shows that take old houses and renovate them. There's something about taking something that's crumbling and old and making it new again that really lights me up, turns me on, right? I just love renovation shows. But with every renovation show, there is always destruction before the new house can be built. Even if you're just renovating a room, there is like a kitchen. You've got to take out the old kitchen. You've got to smash it up, right, before you put in the new kitchen. So they gave me this analogy on Monday that, when new systems are coming into place, the destruction of old systems have to happen. And we're seeing a lot of destruction on our planet right now. Well, not a lot, but we're seeing a bit. The mainstream media will have you believe that that's all that's happening on our planet is people rioting and destroying. Sorry, I just had breakfast in between talking to Athena and coming back. Breakfast, lunch, it's lunchtime now. Yeah, so they'd have you believe that this is all that's going on in the world because that's all they want to report. They want to report how many people are dying of COVID, and they want to talk about how the violence. That's all they want to talk about. But, nonetheless, it is happening. So we're seeing destruction. So in order for new systems to come in place, old systems have to crumble. And as I've said before, the light uses the dark for its own agenda, because there is only one energy, a source of pure positive energy that creates all of it. So love creates hate and fear as much as it creates love and light. It all comes from the one source. It all comes from the one place. And when you can see that, when you can look upon something that looks destructive and hideous and horrible, and you can see the divine within it, you can see past the destruction of the now and see how that destruction is going to rebuild a new future. When you can, like Paul Selick, or the guides through Paul said, this is the work I do. When you can look upon something and see the divine in it, your knowing transforms it. Your knowing. So never, ever forget how powerful your thoughts are. Your thoughts manifest instantly in an etherical vibrational reality. Athena called it etheric. In a vibrational or subtler reality, your thoughts manifest instantly. In order to bring that thought into a physical reality, there is a buffer of time. So it doesn't look like it. We don't give importance to our thoughts. So we just fly around. We get angry with that. We get happy with that. Angry, happy, we just let our thoughts go. Like we don't focus and direct and be deliberate with how we flow our energy as humans. And this is, my guides tell me that this is the most important thing humanity is learning right now, is how to direct your energy, how to direct your thoughts, instead of letting circumstances sort of, knock you all around the place. Upset about that, outraged about that, pissed off about that, oh, this is terrible. And what I find in my work and with my even with my daughter, it's like humans think, I have a right to be upset about this. Don't take that away from me. I'm pissed off with what's happening and you can't make me feel better about it. I have a right to be pissed off. This is unfair. I don't like what I'm looking at. And so trying to convince someone to see it in a different light, sometimes you get huge amounts of pushback. I know my daughter does this when she's upset. It's like, don't try and take my upset away from me. I'm upset and I'm going to be upset. And you have that right to be upset. But if you want to make a difference in this world, if you want to be a difference maker, you have to understand that your upset is indication of how you're flowing energy. And how we flow energy is how we create this world. So if you can find a way to look at something and see the perfection or see the divinity in it, or look at it like, if I'm going to renovate the house, I have to take down the old house. Find a way to see the light then you become a powerful, deliberate creator. You become a genius creator, in fact, when you can learn to direct and flow your energy in a way that feels good, no matter what you experience or what you look at, what you see on the mainstream media or on the internet. If you can see the perfection or see the divinity, then you are a powerful, powerful force and source of transformation in this world. And that's what you can do to help right now. See how the people that are upset and angry, they're, as Esther would say, launching rockets of desires, are shooting out of them. I don't want this, I want that. I don't want this unfairness, I want more fairness. I don't want this unkindness, I want more kindness. So if you can answer their prayers by focusing on what they want instead of their asking for it. At the moment, we're seeing a lot of people asking. It's the first step of manifestation. Ask, orchestrate, receive. So if you can focus on what they're asking for, so they're asking for more unity, more fairness, more unity. What we're asking for, people are screaming at us, they're asking for more unity amongst humanity, that we stop judging each other by the color of our skin or our sexual orientation or our choices or our ideas. You know, I'm someone that's been very vilified and judged because of my ideas, because I'm being considered woo-woo by my school friends. They've said to me, we don't believe in all that bullshit you believe in, you know, and we can be judged for anything, for what we look like, for what we believe, for what we do. If we could stop judging each other and start loving each other and loving the diversity and letting, we have the right to think and believe and be any way we want to. Like, God gives us that freedom, that free will, and loves us regardless of who we are and what we do. If we could don that perspective of unconditional love, that is the Christ consciousness. That is living heaven on earth. That is seeing life through the eyes of Source. Then you are a powerful, 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 powerful influence in this world. Believe you, your thoughts matter. The way you flow your energy and how you think, it matters. It really, really matters. So I know the people that watch my show know this. It's just a little reminder from home, really. I don't get too much pushback, but there's a few people that are really upset and angry, and they want to tell you why. And they want to give you reasons and justify their anger and their upset. And, you know, you can do that. But learn to focus in a way that feels good, and then you will help this world shift and change. That's what Source is asking us, all of us, everyone, without exception. Some will manage it and some will not. And those that do manage it, they'll move on to a different experience, a new experience, a higher experience, a better experience. And those that don't manage it, they'll stay in a denser third dimensional experience, either here or on another planet. They'll stay until they get it. And, you know, we have eternity to get it. Anyway, thanks for watching and listening. And I love you all. And remember to buy the book Awakened by Death. There's just no better examples of how people found their connection to Source inside horrific circumstances in that book. Some of the stories in that book are outrageously traumatic, and yet, you know, Dave Byron, one of my favourite, the Australian guy who I interview here in my home, in Bali, his 13-year-old daughter gets killed by the Bali explosions back in 2002, I think it was, 2000. And he goes, you know, he searches through the rubble of all the dead bodies after the explosion looking for his 14-year-old daughter. Horrific, some of the things he saw. And I hope that, you know, he told me that after years of grieving and hating God for taking away the person that he loved the most, he just said, I couldn't feel like that anymore, and I had to make a choice. I had to start thinking differently, and that's exactly what he did. And now he's such a joyous being, such a light in this world. He helps people. He used to have trouble with alcohol when he was young, and he works inside AA, helping people overcome stressful thoughts and negative thinking and their addictions. And beautiful man. But he like Athena, saw the depths of despair in order to find the light. And sometimes for humans, that's what it's going to take until you've had enough, and then you ask for the light. Yeah. So it's a great read, and I have Belinda Womack. I think for people that have watched the shows, coming up in the Inner Sanctum this weekend. So it's an angel week for me, more archangels. The angels are with us, guiding us all the way, and they're loving you and loving everyone around you. Remember, they're there, and remember to ask if you need their guidance or their teaching or their help. Big love, and bye for now.